I'm thrilled to announce that this season's sponsor, Ruby, is a personal favourite of mine. It is the premium at-home beauty and wellness services platform. Ruby works with an incredible network of expert professional beauty and wellness therapists that can be booked directly to your home to deliver a host of treatments, from blow dries to manicures, makeup and massages. Ruby vets all of their therapists, and I cannot fault the quality. I've been using the services for many years, and I've always had a 5-star experience. In a world where we're so busy, with limited time available to have our much-needed treatments, Ruby allows you to get your time back in the luxury of your own home. Whether it's a 7 a.m. pre-work blow-dry, a relaxing evening facial, a last-minute spray tan, even IV drips which you can book up to 60 minutes in advance in London, Manchester, Liverpool and now Zurich too. Since launch, Ruby has firmly positioned itself as the leading luxury on-demand beauty services app and has fans including Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, Robbie and Ida Williams and Abby Clancy, and has been approved by the most discerning of beauty editors. The Ruby app is available on the App Store and Play Store. You can also book your treatments online via their website. It is super simple to use, and when you book, use the code STYLEDNA for £20 off your first treatment. Today I'm going on a style journey with the Australian author of 20 books, the feminist and advocate, the brilliant and irreverently funny Kathy Lette. Hello and welcome, Kathy.
We haven't seen each other since we had that random airport moment in Florence where your plays were cancelled.
Yes, like they always are. That last flight in Florence, out of Florence.
I think we just hit the bar.
You were travelling with Victoria Hisler.
Yeah.
I was travelling with a designer colleague and we hit the bar big
time.
I remember travelling back the following day, had to go via Frankfurt or
That's right.
somewhere,
That's right.
feeling literally like death. But my God, it was a fun night.
It made the trip for me.
Rumour has it, you were at Magic Mike last night. How
Well,
magic was Mike?
It was so magic. I mean, I am sitting here in a pool of my own drool, basically. And it was a night of martinis and swinging off a chandelier with a toy boy between my teeth. So I highly recommend it for every woman listening. It's cheaper than therapy. I figured the world is so gloomy at the moment. I feel like we're tap dancing on the Titanic. And all you can do is keep dancing and having fun and frivolity with your female friends. So I took my favourite gaggle of gals. I took Ruby Wax, Ronnie Ancona, Jo Elvin, my friend Amanda Ross. I took a human rights lawyer whose name I won't mention because she probably doesn't want people to know she was there, and a few others. And what I loved about it is that the whole night is a celebration of female friendship and also female sexuality. And you have to remember that in many countries of the world, this is still a taboo subject. I mean, there are, sadly, many women in the world who aren't even allowed to keep their clitoris. So this was the clitorati out in force. And there's nothing, like when you go to a male lap dancing club, which I've done for research reasons, it's very predatory and very seedy. This is so celebratory. It's women actually feeling empowered and liberated and laughing. And it caters to female fantasies. So it's got every fantasy you've ever had, from your yoga teacher to the guy with the hot young dad with the baby to, I don't know, an aged rock star. It's every fantasy played out. So
Love it.
we laughed and we danced and we had dirty lap dancing and we mainlined martinis and we consolidated our fabulous female friendship. So yeah, it was. I'm taking you next time.
Pretty magical. Yes.
You're on.
And this, oh my God, how much of this is loosely based on the truth?
Everything in that novel is completely true.
Stop it.
It either happened to me, one of my three sisters, a girlfriend, or it's something I researched from the papers that had happened to another woman.
Oh my
The
God.
sexism in our patriarchal world is still so rife. Women are still second-class citizens. but the way we handle it is with humour. So all my work, I try and disarm with charm. So I try and make the reader laugh, because I think if you're entertaining them, there's a much better chance of your message slipping into someone's psyche. So, I mean, the Revenge Club, as you know, is about 4 middle-aged women who take revenge on the men who've sidelined them or just sabotaged them for the crime of being menopausal. And we've just had this huge debacle with Greg Wallace, who said he blamed all the barbs that were being hurled in his direction, he blamed on middle-class women of a certain age. Yeah. That condescension, that dripping condescension in that phrase. And I was like, well, he's actually done us a favour, because now let us talk about this ageist sexism that women endure. And I think, my generation's we've taken the stigma out of menopause, but the next big battle is this ageist sexism, because it's soaked into our psyche through the vernacular. Like a man our age is a silver fox, where we are dismissed as, an old bag, a hag, mutton dressed as lamb. You never hear a man dismissed as mutton dressed as ram.
Yeah.
When I was out with some rock stars the other night, aged rock stars in their 80s, and they were still wearing those leather trousers that are so tight you can detect the man's religion. And nobody ever rubbishes them for that. But we are constantly judged on our wrinkles and our bingo wings. Yeah. I mean, so I like to be the wind beneath women's bingo wings and say, who cares what people think? Yeah. Go forth, be fabulous, have a sensational second act. Because if not now, when?
Yeah.
Right?
Second, third, fourth, whatever. Yeah. But just life is too short and too precious.
Carpe the hell out of DM.
Yeah.
And if you want to go and swing off a Magic Mike dancer's appendage, go forth. I would say.
Did you?
Well, there was a little bit of, yes, I would say there wasn't just flirtation, there was a little bit of frottage, yes. So yeah, that's what that book's about. And the reason I'm so furious about how the sexism that we endure at this age is that when I wanted to write this book, I went to my agent and my publisher and said, I want to write a book about middle-aged women. And my publisher said, yeah, no, middle-aged women just aren't that sexy. And then he dropped me after 19 books. Oh, and then my agent said he'd been talking to other publishers, and they said middle-aged women are like Mogadishu and Sudan. We know they exist, but nobody wants to go there.
I'm sorry, I just think that's so dated and
unbelievable. But it shocked me. Like, it did knock my confidence.
I bet.
I thought, jeepers, maybe I have passed my amuse-by date.
So not, because I don't know about you, but I sometimes at this age I'm feeling, oh my God, I've just said something that's really, really wise. And, you don't realise how much we know.
That's right. And our hinterland
until we start giving advice. And it's or writing these amazing books and sharing that knowledge.
Exactly. And that's why I want to write about women this age, because of this huge hinterland we have. We've been through the marriages, the divorces, the affairs, the breakups, the betrayals, the promotions, the dramas. We've got so much to share and to do it with humour. And the reason I use humour too is because when we're on a girls' night out, like when we were stuck in Florence, wherever we were that night, and we were in the bar, we cackled like kookaburras all night.
Absolutely.
And when you go on a girls' night out, you do have to be hospitalised from hilarity, right?
I would imagine you've got a sore stomach this morning, sore stomach muscles.
There's all sorts of reasons. But bit of bedroom gymnastics thrown in there too. But I still so often hear men say that women aren't funny. And if you look at panel shows, they're still often just the token female. Yeah. And first of all, I think, why are men saying that? I think some men say it because they're terrified what it is we're being funny about. They think we spend the entire time talking about the length of their members, which is clearly not true, because we also talk about the width, which after childbirth is so much more important. But also anthropologists say that women in all cultures on the planet laugh more often than men, especially in all female groups. So isn't it fascinating?
That's great, though.
It's like a survival mechanism for us, because if you can laugh at something, it's like strapping a giant shock absorber to your brain.
It's so true. And I also think women's delivery goes to another level in comedy and humour.
That's right, because we like to entertain each other.
Yeah.
And I think our humour is very different from male humour. Like my male friends are very funny. They have what I call the black belt in tung fu, but because they deliver these one-liners and sort of set jokes. And women, I don't think our humour's like that. I think it's self-deprecating. I think it's very cathartic, incredibly confessional,
Yes, and very observational.
honest, candid.
Yeah.
We strip off to our emotional undies in about 3.6 seconds, and it's a psychological striptease that reveals all, and it is really funny. So that's what I think to all women, just go on lots of girls' nights out. It's cheaper than a breakdown and cheaper than a divorce.
So this was obviously in fact, I think all of your books have been a cathartic experience. Is
Totally.
that?
I only write because it's cheaper than therapy. I always write the book I wish I'd had when I was going through something, almost like a how-to manual, like this is what happened to me, this is how I found the funny,
Yeah.
and this is how you'll get through it.
But
And
you must help so many women
hope so.
that perhaps are a few years younger going through
Hope
what
so.
you had gone through and what you're observing about.
And I think all I do is write down the way women talk when there's no men around. But also sometimes I think I do put into words what women are thinking,
Yeah.
but might not necessarily have the chutzpah to say out loud.
Yeah.
And being a brash Aussie broad, I have no qualms about saying what I'm thinking. And I think especially for British women, they can sometimes find that quite liberating.
Oh, totally. So what's the next chapter?
Or the book I'm doing now,
Yeah.
Yes, I'm on my 21st book. This
With a new agent.
And yes, a new
new
agent,
publisher.
new publisher. That's right. Well, I don't want to give too much away, but it is definitely about. It's still on my favourite theme, which is women at our age having a sensational second act and not feeling guilty about it.
Yeah.
Because what women haven't quite. Every time I read anything about postmenopause, it's always so depressing and people going on about their misery
Which
and their
it shouldn't be. This is a joyous time
best
of our
time.
lives.
But I'm so glad to hear you say that.
No, I am honestly, I have never felt more inside myself, more content, more.
That sounds like you really like masturbation.
Oh, stop it.
I've never felt more inside myself. I'm like, okay. So
No,
I'm good at
Kathy,
Magic Mike.
I
That's
was
all.
not
Slap.
referring to masturbation. I was actually just referring to being really happy in myself.
And I know it's true. I don't think women come into their true selves till postmenopause.
I don't think
Because
so
we're
either.
brought up to be decorative and demure. Even the way we dressed our whole lives was for men.
And actually quite competitive.
Yes.
Because I do have this theory that we're sort of almost competing for the best man, the best mate, the best father.
Yeah. Because
partner,
we live in
whatever.
a patriarchal society.
And
So-
I think once all of that is behind us, actually, I think women tend to be more relaxed, kinder, and just have a great time.
And also post 50, when you turn 50, you get a sort of, oh, fuck it, I'm 50 gene kicks in.
Which is fabulous. It is
fabulous.
not to be frightened of.
And also you've also got, you don't have all those worries about pregnancy scares and period cramps. You've got all that tampon money to spend.
Oh,
It's
Genius.
Genius. So I do think it is the best time of a woman's life. And for the first time ever, you can put yourself first and not feel guilty about it. You know how women have a guilt gland that throbs the whole time, doesn't it? Whether am I a good enough mother? Am I a good enough daughter? Am I a good enough spouse?
Yep.
And to shed that is so sensational. So just if you want to climb Everest or go up the Amazon or just do it whatever you want to do for the first time. Yeah, and feel no guilt.
Good advice, I would say. But today we're going on a style journey. So I want to know what you're wearing today and why you put it on.
Oh, isn't that it's hilarious, isn't it? Well, because we got home so late, we were so martini fueled.
Do you know, I was concerned that you would actually make it into the car this morning.
Well, I did just do the old what's lying on the bedroom floor that doesn't look too crushed routine. So I've just threw some clothes on. I kind of threw on some clothes and kind of missed.
No, not at all.
Yeah, because I thought I had a black jacket, but we've just worked out it's actually navy with black trousers and a top with sort of hearts all over it. Well, I do wear my heart on my sleeve at all times.
You've got it quite literally there.
So I've got it quite literally there. But I think I've seen better dressed salads.
Oh, stop
actually. No, I do. I think that's, whatever look I was going for didn't quite make it. And whoever makes my clothes is too embarrassed to sign them. So they're not even labelled clothes. They're just garments that were not too crushed. I'm so sorry I've let you down.
You so
I
haven't.
have let you down. I have got leopard skin boots on though,
No,
and
you've
a
got
wonder
leopard
bra.
skin heels on your
Heels.
boots.
And a
I mean-
wonder bra and lovely nickers. So
Wonderful.
if all else fails,
Does your
I'll-
bra match your knickers?
No, another fashion faux pas. No. Blame the martinis. Blame Magic Mike.
No, you grew up in Australia.
Yeah.
Did you spend your entire childhood running around Bondi Beach in a bikini?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I have to. It sounds so fabulously free, but it really wasn't because it was a very macho world.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that
Yeah.
because my experience of Australia is quite misogynistic.
Yeah, but that's what makes the women so wonderful.
Yeah.
We really stick together. There's
Interesting.
a really strong sense of female camaraderie. For example, two men who slept with the same man are called stick sisters. There's a sense of camaraderie rather than rivalry. It was like, oh, you slept with him too? Wasn't he terrible? Ha, ha, ha.
Two men who've slept with the same woman.
No, two women who slept with the
Oh,
same...
two women.
who slept with the same man are called stick sisters. Because, so, yeah, there's this sense of camaraderie rather than rivalry. It's like, oh, you slept with him too? Wasn't he dreadful? Ha, ha, ha. But so this surfy world, just to give you an example of how sexist the boys were, they kind of disproved the theory of evolution. They were evolving into apes. They used to get us to cut their names out in paper, sticky tape them to our stomachs, and then sunbake so we get a tan tattoo in the shape of their names. So if
Well,
ever,
at least it was their name.
that's true. If ever I get cancer, I will have this melanoma called Bruce. I have to have like a Brucectomy to get rid of it. And we had a uniform we had to wear. We had to wear these teeny weeny G-string crocheted bikinis. And believe me, it gave Bad Hair Day a whole new meaning because you'd be lying on the beach constantly glancing down in case a little stray pube had escaped.
I was going to say, what happened when you went in the water?
Well, and also they soaked up the sea. So they were the opposite of buoyant. We went straight to the bottom of the ocean, and we weren't allowed to surf. We had to sit on the beach, fetch the Chico roll and the milkshake, mind the towel, cheer the boys on. But then I wrote a book about that. My first novel came out when I was about 18.
Puberty Blues.
Puberty Blues, and
Read
it was a
it.
satire on that surfy culture. And I really wrote it for my girlfriends to say to them, you're more than just a life support system to a pair of breasts. But had no idea it was going to become this overnight bestseller.
Yeah, it was a proper cult book, wasn't it?
Totally.
I mean, still is.
It's
yeah.
incredible. So to go from non-entity to overnight notoriety was quite a roller coaster ride at that age. My dad, who was very Catholic, he was so disgusted and didn't talk to me for a couple of years, and it sent seismic shockwaves through the whole of Australian society because at that time the generation gap was Grand Canyon-esque. It
Yeah.
was so wide. It's not so wide now,
Yeah.
I don't think. But then, so 2 copies were sold to every household. There'd be the parents reading it upstairs going, oh my God, is that what my children are doing? And the kids lying in bed, with a torch.
Yes.
Going, yes. That's when Kylie Minogue, who's 10 years younger than me, she grew up reading, that she remembers that's the first book that really kind of changed her life. And she used to read it with a torch under the bedspread,
Fantastic. So you must have hit sort of fame in Australia very young.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you were wearing back then to sort of as part of your, book signings, your wardrobe?
Well, honestly, the fashion then, why we weren't arrested by the fashion police and just put into...
Because it must have been the 80s.
Yeah, it was the early 80s when I was constantly on book tour and doing television
Did
stuff.
you have a perm?
Oh, yes. It looked as though I'd sutured my own pubic hair to my cranium. What? Did you have a perm?
Of course I did.
I know. And did you have the terrible big shoulder pads?
Oh, everything. The layered shoulder pads.
Oh, and the big earrings?
No, I never did the earrings.
Glasses, big red bright glasses. I look now at those photos and think, did I even have a mirror?
I know.
Right?
I know. But we had fun with it.
Oh, we did have fun. And then the other look, when we went out at night, we'd wear kind of gold hot pants, and because we were in the heat over there.
Yeah.
And a boob tube. Remember boob tubes?
Yep.
I mean, it was a look that didn't really come off, but it gave the impression that it would for the whole band later that night.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
then for your book signings, for, proper grown up, I'm an author.
Yeah.
What were you wearing then with the perm?
With a terrible perm. A lot of mini skirts. Like the term pussy pelmet, I invented that term. I've invented quite a few terms, by the way.
Love that.
But the pussy, I were little tiny, the short skirt was so
Pussy
short.
pelmet.
And the pocket would actually often be hanging lower than the hem. It didn't look like wasn't like a serious woman of letters, but yeah, that was the look.
Were you very aware of your parents' style?
Yes, because the dads were going through that time, right through the 70s and the early 80s. All the dads in Australia used to wear the open neck shirt with a gold ingot. I don't know if
medallion.
A gold ingot they used to wear, and was supposed to nestle in their chest hairs.
Yeah.
But the Australian dads used to wear a vest, a singlet. We call them singlets. It's vest. And it didn't. I'm like, I don't think it's supposed to look like that, Dad. Not supposed to be sitting outside. It's supposed to not be rubbing up against your vest. It's supposed to be in your chest hair. My father's name was Mervyn. He sadly died 10 years ago, but he worked in optic fibre, so we called him Optic Merv. And he had 4 daughters, and he was a famous footballer.
Yeah.
And he wanted 4 sons, but he got these 4 girls. But we don't play football, but we verbally scrum, and we're good at. I can tackle a man with a one-liner.
But can you with your sisters? Is that where the banter started?
Oh yes, oh totally. Yeah.
And 3 sisters. Did you all have very different styles, or did you influence each other's style?
Oh, very, very different styles. My older sister is a police psychologist, and she's action woman. So I don't think I ever saw her out of a pair of overalls, because she was either abseiling or caving or doing something bold and brave.
Yeah.
So, and she thought I was ridiculous the way I was always. My main accessory then was a good-looking surfy boy on my arm, a human handbag.
That was
a
tattoo.
With a tan
I
had the tan tattoo, yeah, of Bruce, yeah.
And your other twos?
And also, the other thing about those surfy boys, I must tell you, is that they were. If you ask any Australian woman where she lost her virginity, it would be a car, because they
That's
thought,
romantic.
They thought sex drive meant doing it in the car. And so we were always in the back of these panel vans, and there'd be a sign on the side saying, "If this van's rocking, don't bother knocking," that kind of terror. Our poor parents. But I worked out not long ago why men like to have sex in the car. That sign on the rear vision mirror that says, "Objects in this mirror may appear larger than they are." And you go, "Oh, right, it makes sense."
I love
so
it.
we didn't wear many clothes, and we didn't have them on very much of the time.
Clearly. But when you came to England, did your style change massively then?
Well, what I wasn't prepared for. Well, first of all, of course, I never dressed for the cold. So I still.
So it was quite a shock.
Oh yeah. So I had a thermal bra, and I still because my legs are the bit. My legs are all I've got left really. So I still wore mini skirts with the big coats and stuff. But what I wasn't prepared for was the English snobbery. First of all, the English I met didn't speak English; they spoke euphemism. So when they used to say to me, "Oh, you Australian, so refreshing," I thought they really liked me. It took me ages to work out that meant "rack off, you loudmouth colonial nymphomaniac." And I'd be like, "How dare you call me a loudmouth? Please, I have my standards." But I remember, especially with my clothes, because I like to wear bright colours, I did not want to dress like the weather. Like every English woman I met was wearing beige, brown, taupe. They looked like compost. I thought, why are they drinking like compost? And I always like to wear, especially on a grey day, red, bright blue, lots of bright colours. And I was wearing something really bright, a bright dress, and I was at the Groucho Club. And I remember this English woman of letters, I won't tell you her name, even though she's well known. She came up and she gave me, they're also the Navratilovas of the backhanded compliment. So she said to me, "Oh, aren't you brave to wear that in London? And you can't see yourself from the back, so what does it matter anyway?" And you just go, "Wow, that's a pretty devastatingly bitchy thing to say."
How did you respond?
At the beginning, I was just flabbergasted that they could be so rude. They had a condescension chromosome.
Ooh.
And most of them had been to Oxford for so long, they had ivy growing up the backs of their legs. But then I remember what Eleanor Roosevelt said. She once said, nobody can make you feel inferior unless you let them.
Yes, and that is so true, isn't it?
And so after that, I'd just say to people, oh, God, I just remembered another really condescending line. It was actually something, it was actually, I bet I shouldn't
Come on,
say who it is.
We're not saying,
No, I won't. Someone's so famous, a woman of letters, let us say. I'll think about whether I should say her name or not. And she said to me one day, oh, Kathy, it's exhausting being beautiful. She said, because, men are just obsessed with me. All they want to talk, I know they just want to talk to me about my beauty. And when I'm so intelligent, she said, I wish I could make myself less attractive. So tell me, how do you do it? And I thought, that's what I said to her. Oh, wow, what a great line. Do you mind if I write that down? I'm going to give it to a really bitchy character in my novel because, thank you so much. That's the best bitchy line ever. So once I started using their dialogue as material, when I said to you about writing's cheaper than therapy, I had a great catharsis.
So do you keep a notebook in your handbag and you write it in longhand or do you voice note it?
Yeah. Longhand. And also, if I'm at a dinner party, because I like to be entertaining as you do, if we're out and I say something and people laugh, I do make a mental note and I write it down on the way home.
Good.
So it's like doing stand-up material, trying out your stand-up material at a comedy club.
Can't help yourself.
No.
What did you wear to get married in?
Well, I mean, here's a bit of gossip for you. When I met Jeffrey, my then husband, he was going out with Nigella. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
He broke up with her for me. And I can't cook. Honey, I use my smoke alarm as a timer.
Well, you obviously have other talents. Let's put it that way,
I think
Kathy.
he came to really regret it, But I was actually, I fell in love with Jeffrey. We had how do you say it? You probably speak French. A coup de foudre.
Yep.
Is that correct pronunciation?
Good,
Oh, it's terrible. I can't do any accents.
It's good.
But we had that bolt of lightning thing happen to us. And so we fell in love so fast. He asked me to get married 2 weeks after we met.
Oh, wow.
And I was pretty quickly pregnant. So actually and I had to get divorced. I was already married. So we had to quickly get the divorce through. So I was pregnant when I got married. And all I was concerned about was, I wasn't quite up to the 3 months, it was just before, was not letting anyone see the bulge.
Yeah.
So I can't believe my son wasn't born with a kind of pointy head because I had remember those really tight tights?
Yes.
that cut off all circulation to your lower limbs. I had those on. And I think I wore a little cream, not white, mini skirt suit with shoulder pads from Joseph.
Beautiful.
Yes, it was beautiful.
And was it a registry office?
Yes,
Chelsea registry.
And then we
office
had a big party, and then we had a big lunch, and we had a big party at the ICA.
Lovely.
And it was the Institute of Contemporary Arts, which was very fashionable then.
And did you keep that little suit?
Oh yeah, I've still got it.
Oh, wonderful. Do you still wear it?
No, I can fit into the jacket, not quite the skirt anymore. So
but
really
you've had
skinny.
no qualms about wearing the jacket again, even though it was the jacket you got married in.
Do you know what? I love a shoulder pad. We were
good.
aligning them, but look,
They're
I
good.
think they're slightly coming back, don't you?
Totally.
Yes, so I kept the jacket.
And there's something very flattering, not extreme, but there is something very flattering about just widening the upper half a little bit.
And also I'm still friends with both my ex-husbands, so I don't have any qualms about wearing that. Yeah, you should try and stay friends because you've got to remember there was something there that you loved about that person.
Have you ever been a bridesmaid?
No, most of my friends didn't really get married. In fact, one of my sisters didn't get married. The other two, I was here, they were there. We never did traditional weddings. It was all about just, one of my friends got married at a nudist camp. Can you believe it?
That must have been interesting. So all the guests were nude?
All the guests were nude.
Couldn't ask many style questions there.
I know,
could
at
you?
Byron Bay. Oh my Lord. Yes, that I'm still psychologically scarred from seeing all my friends' dangly bits. Yeah, I know. It did away with the great hassle about what to wear, though.
I mean, heaven in some degree, but yeah, that could be quite traumatic. Yeah. Anyhow, moving right along.
Yeah.
You're dating a younger man, is that correct?
Yes.
Does that affect your style or clothes choices at all?
I think it does a little bit because I've had 2 alpha males and now I have a beta male.
Yeah.
And a beta is better, I think. So, I mean, he adores me, doesn't bore me, does all my chores for me, which is pretty fabulous, right? And he's Irish, so he grew up with strong women around him.
Yeah.
So he's not intimidated by my strident sort of behaviour. And, you know, when I go out swinging off a toy boy at the Magic Mike show, he just thinks that's great crack.
funny,
It's
yeah.
funny. But I do sometimes, I think I do, just the other day I thought, you know what, I'm going to wear boots and a miniskirt and fishnet tights because he's a musician and
Yeah.
and I thought I'm just going to look a bit more rock and roll because a lot of my friends are giving into elasticated waistbands and
I don't think we should be.
not at all. Oh no! If you dress young, you feel young.
Totally.
So yeah, I'm not going there. I don't want to sit at home knitting my own bus pass.
So definitely not.
Yeah.
So you feel that being in that relationship is affecting your choice of clothes to a degree.
And I hadn't really thought about it until you asked me. But I remember just the other day I was choosing between 2 outfits, and one was kind of sensible shoes and warm trousers, and I thought, no, you know what, I'm going rock and
Get
roll.
those legs out.
Yes, exactly. Why not? Well, I've still got them.
They'll always be with you. Do clothes affect your mood, do you think?
Oh yeah, and if you're feeling sad, you've got to put on a bright colour, and also I would say a tiara. If I'm having a really bad day, I have so how do you say that word?
Swarovski.
That Brian gave me for my birthday a few years ago. No one can be mean to you in a tiara. I wear it on the bus. I wear it to the gym. Everybody smiles at you.
Do you have just one tiara?
I've got a lot of little plastic tiaras that I give people when they come round for dinner.
But this is a special
This
one.
is it's got the kind of crystally things on it. So, but that's top style tip. Nobody can be mean to you when you're wearing a tiara.
So you
get free trips.
The beta male gave you your tiara.
He did.
Oh, I love that.
He did.
I love that.
No, he's a keeper. But when I say dressing for them, I mean, recently I thought, yeah, I'm going to, because obviously I also think women have the best sex of their lives post-menopause because you're so comfortable in your skin. You know, I mean, I can't even believe that I'm vertical right now. But anyway, I do think I think you have the best orgasms. You know yourself so well. You know what you like, and you can let go.
Yeah.
But but just because we had all that long lockdown when then it was so hard to keep everything sort of still tingly and fresh when you only saw each other. I remember one night I thought, right, I'm going to wear that Madonna type basque. You know those Madonna things with the loops and the straps and the portholes and everything like that. But of course, oh my God, you need an engineering degree to operate it. I think he finally got it off when it was morning. So I thought, no, dress young but not insane.
I mean, you have often talked about using comedy as your armour.
Totally.
Do you ever use clothes as your armour?
Totally. Yes.
So what would you reach for if you needed to feel empowered? Okay, you have been let down by your agent and publicist or publisher, and so you're going in to meet your new publisher. What are you wearing for that?
Well, first of all, I started wearing comedic clothes, just clothes with a bit of comedy to them, when I had a new baby, because I was on book tour for Mad Cows and Fetal Attraction, and I was exhausted. You know, as a new mother, there's absolutely no sleep.
Yeah.
And I'd be doing talk shows, and I'd think, oh God, if I wear something witty, we can talk about that while I'm remembering what my name is. And at the time, I was obsessed with Moschino when Moschino was so witty.
Oh, it was brilliant.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And I had a suit with, baby bottles on it. I had a suit made out of pasta with plastic tomatoes and penne sewn on it. I had a dress that had actual books on it.
Yeah.
That you could open the book pages.
Brilliant.
If I was going out to if I was doing one of those cooking programs on TV, I had a suit with a knife and fork on the belt. So things like that.
I remember seeing a picture of you in that.
So that's when I started using comedic clothes as armour, because if people are already laughing at what you're wearing, you're getting them in the right mood. And Moschino, I don't wear so much Moschino anymore. It got too crazy expensive.
Yeah.
But I've still got all those pieces, which I still bring out when it's thematic. But you can dress in funny ways that aren't expensive. Like My most iconic outfit is the corgi suit. Do you know about the corgi suit? This is Joe Elvin's favourite story.
Tell me.
This is now an iconic outfit. If you Google my name, that's the first thing that will come up. I have this suit. I was going to do all the coverage for the Wills and Kate's marriage. I was doing a lot of coverage for Australian television. And as a Republican, I mean, Australia should become a republic eventually. We should have Kylie as our queen. Would have been Dame Edna once, but I thought I don't want to look too serious. So one of the surfy girls I grew up with is a seamstress, and I rang her up and said, "Can you make me a little suit with screen print some corgis on it, and put the tiaras on them with diamantes on the tiaras?" And she was like, "Sure." So she's on the other side of the world. I said, "You know what I look like." So she just made me this suit. Very simple suit, but the material's hilarious. And so I did all my broadcasting in this suit. Then a couple of years later, the Queen was having a soiree at Buck House for all the Aussies. So, Hugh Jackman was going, and Nicole Kidman, and, every famous Aussie you could think of. And I was working that day on a novel deadline. I suddenly thought, oh, cripes, I got to get to the palace. What am I going to wear? I thought, I've got that corgi suit. So I dug it out from the back of the wardrobe, whacked it on. I drove down to the palace because you used to be able to drive in and park there. I'm drying my hair out the car window, putting the mascara on the rear vision mirror. Elle Macpherson had probably been getting ready for like 5 years. And I got there and I ran up the steps and I was quite late, and the Queen was standing there, and she looked, her face was a rictus of boredom because obviously she'd been meeting all these Aussies for so long. And I stood in front of her and said, "I hope you like my suit. I wore it just for you, although I'm slightly worried that one of your corgis might mate with my leg." And the Queen went, "Oh," threw her head back, killed herself laughing, and said to Philip, "Oh, Philip, do come over and have a look." And he came over and in his sort of blustery, glowery way, he said to me, yes, move on with you, lassie," or whatever. But this famous photograph, because she's hardly any photographs of her laughing.
Yeah.
Laughing, cackling, really enjoying.
So lovely to think
an outfit.
Yeah.
And she loved it so much, I got my friend to make a scarf with a silk screen corgis on, and I sent it to her, which I know she absolutely loved. But in the photo, in the famous iconic photo, you'll see in the background her equerries are behind her, and one of them is laughing, the other one is ready to put me in the tower. I mean, he is just, he wanted to boomerang me back to Botany Bay.
Oh, I love that.
But see, that's an example of using clothes to, to just alleviate tension.
Actually break the ice.
Break the ice.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a style icon?
I would say Mae West, because she defied her age.
Yeah.
She just kept wearing her sexy, sensational outfits.
Yeah.
Far longer than people probably deemed respectable, appropriate. I hate the word appropriate.
I was going to say, how do you feel about age-appropriate dressing?
Hate it.
Yeah.
They never say it to men, as I said. No. They never call men mutton dressed as ram. And what I love about Mae West too, I think her favourite accessory was to wear her ankles behind her ears at all times. What's not to love about that? While she was firing off witty one-liners. Because the other thing about using humour, we know that men are physically stronger, but women are more verbally dexterous. We use on average about 350 more words in our daily vocabulary. So whenever I'm going out to talk to girls in schools, which I do a lot, I say to them, you are underdressed if you go out at night without a couple of really witty one-liners tucked up your trouser leg.
I love that.
Because if a guy is putting you down, if a man is saying something sexist in a Greg Wallace kind of way, if you can give a quick bit of quiplash, shoot from the lip, and make other people laugh at him, you've taken away all his power.
Totally. Totally. When do you feel you really discovered your style DNA?
When I moved to London, I would say, when I started dressing as wittily as I felt inside, for sure. And Moschino did really help me. Everything that he designed at the time, I just thought was so irreverent and so mischievous. And my favourite suit I had of his was a blue miniskirt dress and the shoulder-padded jacket, which was, the big fashion in the 80s and 90s. But round the middle, it had dollar bill sign pockets. And round the middle, it had a pun. I love puns, as you've probably gathered. It had right around the waist. It had waste of money. WAIST.
I remember that suit. Yep.
So it was sending itself up.
Yep.
And it was expensive.
Yep.
You know? And I did buy one Moschino thing recently. I don't want to be plugging Moschino all the time. You know, as I said, you can be witty.
Yeah.
You know, the cheapest way possible.
Yep.
You don't have to go to a designer. Make your own fun with your own clothes. But I did buy recently a coat that I just could not resist. It's a beautiful tailored coat, and the pockets are 2 purses. So that's what the pockets. You don't even have to take a handbag. So in my purses, the little purses just here on the front of the coat. In one purse, I have my bus pass because I'm 66, and in the other pocket, I have a condom. And does a girl need any more?
That's really essential.
And a lipstick, and then I'm out for the night.
Literally. How would you describe your style DNA in 3 words?
Well, witty, mischievous, sexy. Because I think women should embrace their sexuality. This myth that, you know, that we lose our sex appeal and our sexual desires as we age is just outrageously wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, look at you. I mean, look what you're wearing. You've got the sexiest outfit on. I mean, can you describe to me just talk me through your outfit.
Well, I've got high-waisted leather pants on,
Of course.
black roll neck, and a bomber jacket.
Well, it's the most beautiful bomber jacket I have ever seen, by the way.
Well, thank you.
And your beautiful hair. I mean, you look just outrageously gorgeous. And even your sort of flip-flop arrangement.
Furry slippers.
Furry slippers.
I know, because we're not filming below the desk.
But when you say furry slippers, they're not quite that. They're very designer-ish.
Yeah,
with gold buckles.
Yep.
And they've got black fur. It looks as though you've saved up all your bikini waxes. And
Kathy,
and glued them on there. Or maybe they just fell down.
It just put me off them for life.
Oh. I think they're beautiful. Well, and of course, I do love shoes.
Do you now?
I do.
Now, how many pairs of shoes do you honestly own?
I would say, I would probably make Imelda Marcos look abstemious.
It's that good, is it?
I think I have more shoes than the entire cast of Riverdance.
Okay, so how many is that?
150, 200?
And the oldest pair in there?
Well, I have some beautiful Jimmy shoes from right back in the late 80s.
But do you still reach for those?
No.
No. Are they almost like a diary?
They're a diary. And I can't part with them because they remind me of all the disco dancing I did in them.
And where are you at now, at your age, on heel height?
I still love a heel because I'm very short. I'm 5'3", maybe 5'4". So I spend my entire life looking up men's nostrils, which is not a beautiful view. So I do like a heel, but I like a shoe, with a nice covered shoe with a heel. I like a spiky heel so I can do a little bit of penile augmentation beneath the dinner table if a man says anything sexist. That's important. But what I want someone to invent for me is a shoe that's flat all day and then goes up at night. I've got a name for it, the social climber. Why can they put people on the moon and they can't do that?
Because technically it is impossible. It's all to do with the last, but that's another conversation.
Well, anyway, but the other reason I love shoes is because if you put your foot in your mouth as often as I do, it's got to be well shod. So
Definitely.
At least you get
favourite
forgiven.
shoe designer?
Favourite shoe design? Well, it's not anyone particularly glamorous, but I do like an LK Bennett shoe because they have a round toe, they have a manageable heel, and they're all in bright colours. I mean, is that daggy to say that?
No.
That's the designer I do really like. And of course, being Australian, we do love our Birkenstocks as well, in every colour.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Can we talk about hair, makeup and manicures for a second?
Thank God I got my nails done the other week.
That was for Mike.
Oh, well, that's true. Yes, if you're going to be scratching down in their backs, yes, you do want to do it in style.
But so, obviously you're
typing.
On a keyboard a lot.
My fingernails are very short. They have to be short and square because I'm type. Yeah. Same with you.
And very aware of and very aware of your nails being in good nick, I would imagine.
Yeah, well,
because
they're-
you're looking at them all
the
day.
time, and also they're often, if I'm filming, if I'm on TV, they always want to film you typing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do keep them in pretty good nick. But yeah. What are you? Is shellac or not shellac?
Non-shellac, but this is about you. God. View on tweakments.
Tweakments. Well, as you can see, read between my lines. It's all there. The books, the babies, the hours of fun-loving flirtation. I'm not big on tweakments, as you can see.
No, I think you look amazing.
No,
you really do.
The dimmer switch, greatest beauty aid known to womankind. And also, I think once you start, where do you stop?
Oh, I think candlelight.
Candlelight.
Candlelight is just romantic and beautiful.
Yes. And also, I lived in LA. I used to write sitcom in LA, and there is no law of gravity in Los Angeles. Skin sags upwards. It's amazing.
It reminds me of that old Joan Rivers joke about her, basically, her body being on the top of her head.
Well, they drag everything up, so the ankle becomes the knee becomes the navel, the clitoris becomes the chin. And that's how you spot a recipient of cosmetic surgery. You look for a woman who's rubbing her chin a little bit too vigorously, right? And also they look terrible. I always think, oh my God, who did they study under? Dr. Zeus?
Yeah.
They're surgeons. I mean, it's so appalled me what I saw there and also I think, why would you want a man who only wants you because you're silicon from tonsils to toenails? You wouldn't want a man like that, would you?
I think they're not loving you for you, are they?
No.
Yeah.
But I understand why women panic. I think aging to women's like kryptonite to Superman. You know.
Yeah.
You know, because we live in a sexist society where we do get judged. Women suffer from facial prejudice. We get judged on our looks in a way that men don't.
Absolutely.
And it's outrageous. And part of the problem is we never see women who look like us on television. 85% of people on British television over 50 are men. We get
that
one
is
wrinkle.
A terrifying statistic.
They put you out to career pasture. Not the men. For the men, it gives them gravitas. But for us, gravity, and we're out.
Yeah.
So I do try and fight against that. You know, I always joke. I say, oh, my mother told me never to pick my nose, especially from a catalogue. Ha, ha, ha. But I think, why put yourself through all that unnecessary pain? But I do understand why, as I was saying, because I'm at that age where a lot of my women friends are actually getting traded in for younger models. And I don't see them for a few weeks. And I see these breasts coming down the high street. You know, they've got their own postcode. And then they've done that weird thing with their lips where it looks as though they've got a vagina sutured to their faces. And that is basically, I only found this out recently. This is where they take the fat out of their bottoms and inject it into their lips, so they're literally talking out of their ass. Which tells you so much about Hollywood, doesn't it? And then you see them at the gym, they've waxed all their body hair off. I think, why? Why are you trying to look like a prepubescent girl, you know? My own pudenda could be awarded national park status. So I'm all for bringing back bush. Yeah. We've gone off piste.
So we have gone off piste. I mean, let's talk about travel for a second. Do you pay particular attention to your airport look? What
God,
you're
no.
travelling in? Because you must to and fro from
I do.
Aussie and all around the world, actually.
Yeah, you just got to go for jet lag chic. I mean, just the most
comfortable. So what is jet
comfortable.
lag chic?
Well, just the most comfortable outfit you have. I mean, these are long-haul flights I do.
And
They're
so
28 hours.
What would you be wearing for
Is that
said long haul?
interesting? I just wear tracksuit pants.
Yeah.
And I do take a nice cashmere jumper and I do take a lavender face mask, so on the plane, that horrible airport smell, I can just sink into my cashmere cocoon.
It is a
with my
horrible
lavender.
smell, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you come off the plane and you feel like everything smells of
Yeah,
the
it
aeroplane.
does. Yeah.
Are you a good packer, bad packer?
Very bad packer.
In what way?
Well, I never know even if I was going up the Himalayas, I would think I better take a disco ball and some high-heeled sequin shoes to party. Because I do love to dance and party, and
so
I call it the disco. By the way, it's the disco diet. So if we're at dinner parties or wherever we are, at a certain point, I always say, let's dance, because then you stop drinking and you dance off the calories. So we do a lot of dancing at my place, as you'll know when you're coming over.
I absolutely
Joe.
cannot wait.
So I tend to take way too much of everything, always. What about you?
And what luggage are you using?
Just the brightest suitcases I can find. Lime, pink, so I can always find them. Because when you jet lag after 28 hours, you're getting off in Sydney. You know, you don't even know where you are, let alone what you've brought. So
Now let's talk about your wardrobe secrets for a moment.
wardrobe secrets.
Brand that's a guilty secret. Actually,
Well,
that's going to be Moschino, isn't it?
yes, because
That's-
I do wear a lot of this designer called Hallie Bob. Do you know Hallie Bob?
No.
Because they're bright, beautiful dresses, but they look like they're poochy, but they're not. They're synthetic, but they're bright and bold and beautiful. So if I'm on book tour somewhere, I can throw 12 of these dresses into a bag and they come out fresh. So that's a good tip for anyone who's doing a lot of travelling and they want to look sassy and colourful and bright and bold and brilliant.
So anything that you've got an excessive amount of in your wardrobe?
Well, shoes, as we discussed.
Yes, that's it.
Shoes.
And a guilty secret, the most expensive item.
Oh, I think I told you about that. Would be that Moschino coat I bought with the purses.
Very good.
That would definitely be. Although, wait. I do have a sparkly Colette Dinnigan dress.
Ooh.
Because, years ago, my daughter did the Creon Ball. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Amazing.
She was the first Australian to do it. And she'd be horrified now because then she was a socialite. Now she's a socialist. So she'd be mortified. She's appalled. But it was so much fun because also we're convict stock. So in Australia, we have inverted snobbery. If you can trace yourself back to the convicts.
That meant that you ended up in Australia as your family.
If you can trace yourself back to the first and second fleet, you're like Antipodean royalty. So, and I'm first and second fleet, so I call myself the creme de la creme. So I kept thinking, God, when we were swanning around the Creon Hotel, in our sequence, Colette Dinnigan's an Australian designer. So
Yes, but did she do both yours and your daughter?
Yes.
Oh, lovely.
So it was the first time they'd had an Australian designer at the Creon Ball too.
Amazing.
But as I was swanning around, I thought, God, if my convict ancestors could see me now, they'd be rattling their chains with mirth,
Love it. And your approach to sustainable fashion?
Well, that's interesting. I've sort of stopped shopping because I'm now just shopping in my own wardrobe.
It's the best, isn't it?
So, right. Yeah. And because neither of us have changed shape that much, we can still fit into a lot of our clothes.
Yeah.
So I've kind of now started, I go so far back in my closet. I'm back in Narnia. I'm so far back in my closet I found Liberace. But I'm just getting these clothes out and wearing them all over again, like this top. I only found that like a week or so ago. It's from the 90s. But
So is your wardrobe phenomenally organised?
I have a winter and a summer section, and then I have the old bits at the back, which I'm excavating right now. So that's where I'm finding a lot of fabulous things that I'd forgotten about, and just giving them another burst of life. And I also shop in op shops a lot. And I take a lot of clothes to op shops, opportunity shops.
Yeah.
What do you call them here? Charity shops.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have got some, one woman's trash is another woman's treasure.
Absolutely. And does your daughter raid your wardrobe at all?
Oh, totally, all the time. So, and she never chooses what I think she's going to like. Like I give her a lot of my old clothes and she turns her nose up at. But to see her wearing my clothes is also
joyous.
Joyous.
Yeah.
Do you have children?
I don't. So,
right, you don't.
But
you've got nieces probably.
Yeah, I've got a niece and I love giving her things and seeing her reinterpret them.
Well, it's funny because my daughter also gets all of Kylie Minogue's cast-offs.
Oh,
because
my
she's
God,
the only
hang
one
on.
slim enough to fit into them.
That is such a great line.
Well, it's true. And so when now that when she started becoming very politically radical, which was when she was about 17, she's one of those great girls who's out there saving the world. she'd be at the barricades on all these marches, but she'd be wearing Kylie's cast-off Dolce & Gabbana. Like, she was the best dressed so socialist in the whole wide world.
And so let's
I used
talk
to
about
try
that.
and get into them. Like, Kylie would send over bags of clothes for Georgie from when she was about 12 on.
Amazing.
And I'd try to get into them. I'd be like, oh my God, I looked like a Great Dane trying to get through a cat flap, you know? Oh, please. I was like Cinderella's sisters with the shoe trying to squeeze in. But yeah, so she's got a lot of lovely clothes from Kylie and Danny, actually. Danny also sends her stuff.
Amazing.
I know.
Amazing. And your son, Julius, does he ever have strong opinions on what you wear?
Oh, gosh, no. He's autistic, by the way.
Yes, I'm aware of
He's
that.
on the autistic spectrum. So,
But I wondered, because of that, which I think is a charm and a gift, but I would imagine he's very straight talking.
oh, very. No filter.
So hence my question. I just wondered if
I
you
tell you what he is good for. Anyone listening who doesn't know what autism is, it's a lifelong neurological condition. Its chief characteristics are inability to communicate, socialise, often chronic OCD, but also a very high IQ. My own sounds like
Very.
Wikipedia.
It's a proper gift.
With a pulse, yeah. But they also have no filter.
Yeah.
So they tell the truth.
Yes.
Now, in a world where everybody lies to you, politicians lie, the media lies, real estate people lie. I mean, the internet's lying to us with their bots. I mean, everybody's lie. I've thought about setting Jules up in a truth booth where people pay to come in and be told the truth. For example, if I say to my boyfriend, does my bum look big in this? He would always say, you're beautiful, gorgeous. If I ask Jules, he'll say, oh, yeah.
Well, hence my question.
Right. He always tells me the truth. If something, anything to do with fashion, I will always ask his opinion.
Interesting.
And I know I'll get a straight answer. So I'm thinking I could make money out of him. Surely. A truth booth on King's Road where women are going to buy something, they come into the truth booth and be told the truth. And it does make them look 5 stone heavier or whatever it is.
Oh, I love it. Let's spin on to some quickfire questions. What fashion advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Oh, is this a fashion advice? I would say wear sunblock, because we baked in the sun.
Yeah.
And you could play join the dots with my melanomas, and what they would say is wear sunblock, you idiot. Yeah. So when I wear low cut dresses and things now, I have all these sunspots, and my legs too are covered. So, and I love wearing short skirts and low cut things, and because I still feel so sassy and sexy. But then I look in the mirror and think, oh gosh, sunspot central. So take care of your skin. Is that it?
I think that's very good advice. Very good. Fashion trend you'd most like to see make a comeback, or era?
Oh, come on, the 60s. I mean, I still really look
You're
good.
a proper 60s chick.
I look good in boots, a really short mini dress, doing the go-go. I think all women look good in the 60s style. Do you not think bell bottoms?
I think you're either a 60s or a 70s. I tend towards more the 70s.
There was a lot of beige in the 70s, though. There was a lot of brown.
Yeah.
I like the psychedelic, loud colours.
Boho. Yeah, I think you were either a 60s or 70s.
And I mean, I was only a little girl in the 60s, for God's sake. But that was my fashion peak, I would say. But although the one thing I don't want to come back is the bell bottom. I don't know if do you remember the bell bottom, which was, they were like a super, super big flare.
And would slice the sides of our jeans and add in extra flare.
And I was wearing my bell bottoms once. I was walking along the street. It was very windy. And the wind whipped one of the bell bottoms around my other leg. And I just fell face forward onto the pavement. I was sort of lying there like a denim mermaid, struggling. Got a lot of light relief to the other pedestrians, but it was probably not my fashion highlight. No.
What fashion or beauty trend would you consign to Room 101?
Well, the perm, obviously. The crocheted bikini, as we've discussed, because of its lack of buoyancy. I would say, what else? Oh, God, do you remember those, the bubble skirt? What? Puffball. Denim overalls, no, where the strap always fell into the loo.
Okay, so you've got
quite a list, yeah.
Quite a list.
I think that should all be put into sartorial Siberia.
Your last impulse buy?
Well, I did sort of splash out on some very sexy lingerie because the winters are long in England and Monopoly and Scrabble do get boring after a
The
while.
days are very short.
Yes, so I think one must make one's own fun in the home. Yeah. But I also bought a wetsuit from one extreme to the other.
That is really one extreme to the other. And your wetsuit is for...
It's for swimming in England because it's so ridiculously cold here. So we do a lot of swimming down at the Isle of Wight. And the English women, you're all so brave the way you leap into the cold water, but for
Not me.
no. And you look quite good in it. You look like Emma Peel.
They are brilliant, aren't they?
And it sucks everything in. So
smooth. Yeah.
So yes, I may start wearing it out to London fashionable parties as my new look. And as with global warming, the tides rising and the world sinking, I'll probably never know when I might need it.
It will be in one of those many suitcases wherever you're going to
also-
trek in the Himalayas.
And also, I do dive in the deep end for a living, so I think I should be aquatically
Again
dressed at all
and
times.
What are your views on tattoos?
Well, I have been to bed with a few men with tattoos, and it was good to have a little bit of light reading when they got dull. Some of them had sort of monosyllabic conversations and a three-grunt vocabulary. So at least I had something to look at. So, yeah, but I wouldn't get one myself because, thing is, you get a dolphin on your hip, but in 20 years' time it looks like an overblown whale, a sagging, overblown whale. So no. And also, people think they're getting a tattoo that says, is Balinese for inner peace, and it probably just says, bean shoots and beef, whatever.
Probably their shopping list.
Yeah, it's something from a menu. So no.
Beauty treatment you couldn't give up?
Hair. I'm never going grey. It's my least favourite colour.
So no silver fox, Kathy Lette.
No silver fox, Kathy. I really hate that colour so passionately. I will always be dyeing my hair, and I also do snatch to match. I think that's important. The fanicure. So I think the fanicure, I wouldn't give up the fanicure. I think it's very depressing. As you get older, obviously, you do get the odd grey pube. And it's very depressing to the woman. I don't think the bloke cares. He's just happy to be there. But I would say I like a snatch to match.
And do you get your snatch to match done in a salon? Or?
Well, that's a bit tricky because I know my hairdresser well, but I don't want him to know me quite that well. But you can just get, men's beard dye, whack a bit on.
Okay.
And you can I go different colours. I go red. Sometimes I've got blue hair dye and gone blue. I go pink.
And always snatch to match.
Well, no, if I don't always do snatch to match, usually I do red to match my hair. But otherwise, if I want a bit, if it's a specially themed holiday occasion. I'm telling you way too much information. Has anyone ever else on this podcast talked about their snatch to match?
No, but this is, it's a first. Maybe I will, put that in my quickfire questions in future, inspired by my conversation with Kathy Lette.
To match?
High end or high street?
Both.
Bling or bear?
Bear.
Minimalism or maximalism?
Maximalism.
Couture or charity shop?
Oh, charity shop.
Crocs, cute or puke?
What?
Crocs. Croc shoes.
Yes.
Cute or puke?
Puke? Oh, are Crocs cute or puke?
Yes.
Oh, Crocs. Puke. Oh, my God. How old are you? What are you, a toddler? God's sake.
Sneakers or stilettos?
Both, definitely both, because I love exercise.
Boyfriends or wide legs, as in jeans?
Wide leg. I love a flare. I can even flare my nostrils.
That's talent. Bodycon or boho?
Oh, God, I hate bodycon. But can I say something about bodycon?
Yeah.
Where do those women keep their internal organs? In their handbags? You can see the 3-course raisin they had for lunch. Please don't wear clothing that you're going to end up in emergency in the hospital room because it's cut off all circulations to your organs.
Red carpet or relax?
Oh, red carpet.
Trend or style?
Style.
Colour or monochrome?
Ha! Colour.
Experimental or uniform?
Experimental.
Beanie or beret?
Beret.
Hoarder or editor?
Hoarder.
Charity shop or resale?
Charity shop, always.
Shapewear or sexy lingerie?
Sexy lingerie.
Tights or stockings?
Ooh, both. Can you do both?
can do
With a
both.
mini skirt, I would do tights.
Bikini or one piece?
Bikini.
And finally, my traditional last question. At the end of the day, what do you or don't you wear in bed?
My boyfriend.
Love it. Love it. Kathy, that has been hilarious. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was rabbiting on about.
It's fantastic. I have loved our
I'm
conversation.
giving you the snatch. I can't believe I told you that, but it's true.
Snatched a match.
Snatch the match.